Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the next round of the US versus China in trade war talks. There are more earnings to watch, our precise daily stock levels, our game plan Forex, as well as our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. And it's actually turning very interesting. And my phone has been going off the hook with certain traders who are on vacation because, as I was telling you guys, August really slows down. It really slows down. And trading becomes very hard. And a lot of traders get disheartened. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, you shouldn't get disheartened in a market like this. You should just tear down. You should just tear down to like a one conviction level on the 1 to 10, whatever it is. If 10 conviction for you is taking 1,000 shares and one is taking 100 shares, I would be at 100 shares. So just trying to show you mentally where your number should be, especially for this week and next week. I've talked a lot about it. And we're going to go into the China trade talks, and I'm going to show you something that's going to predict accurately the bottom of these Chinese names that have been falling. I know. But first, I would like to say a thank you to our sponsors over at T3 Live is not a broker dealer. And feel free to go ahead and pause this and read this as you will. Thank you very much. And okay, let's get to the action, huh? So we have US China trade talks happening tomorrow. So, yes, political and geopolitical drama. This is more geopolitical. There was still some political drama can affect the market. So, we're going to go over the next round of the US versus China trade talks and what I'm expecting. So, if I were to ask you right now, since the US China trade talks have began, do you think China is getting hurt? Yes or no? Do you think the US is getting hurt? Yes or no? Okay. When you pit up two countries, when you pit up two countries against each other in the ring, it's kind of funny that obviously the US is a nuclear power, obviously China is a nuclear power, and it doesn't make sense for either country to go to war using conventional weapons, but instead we go through what's called a trade war. And a trade war can be done without missiles, without bombs, and could cripple a country. So it's kind of funny when people ask me, Mark, what do you think of these China US, trade fights that have been happening? When did they really start popping up? Since like May? I mean, we were talking about them for a while, but May is when the rhetoric really heated up. So, you want to know the results of the war? Appear results of the war. Appear. This is the U.S. dollar versus Chinese yuan, which is China's Chinese dollar. So the yuan, I think, is how you pronounce it. Here's a weekly chart of it. Right over here is May, and I'm going to explain it to you that's very eloquent. And not only is my way of explaining it going to be very simple and eloquent for you to learn, but I'm also going to show you how you could potentially time trading some of these Chinese names. So I'm going to just draw it on a picture for you. So again, I'm estimating, right? Right around here, trade war begins, right? US versus China trade war begins right around there, okay? So if this was a boxing match, what you see the chart acting extremely bullish. Now, what does that mean? Now, you might see, for example, from where I take this screenshot, that there's a number here that says 6.83. I'm going to explain it because it was confusing for me the first time I saw it, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand it, it actually, I won't put a dollar sign. I'll just say the number is 6.83. So what does that mean that the number is 6.83? What it means, ladies and gentlemen, is if you went to China to a bank that wasn't trying to charge you a commission and you just did a straight exchange for $1, they would give you $6.83 worth of Chinese money. Now, when the trade war began, when you went to this bank, if you handed this Chinese bank a dollar, they would give you about $6.30. Now they're giving you about $6.83, which we're just going to round up, and we're going to actually say there's a 10% difference since May. Meaning, if you brought your US dollar to China, you would pretty much be able to buy 10% more today than you would have back in May. That devalues the entire country. That devalues a tremendously sized economy. Now, you might look at this bullish chart and say, okay, I think I'm sort of getting it now, Mark. So basically, our dollar is worth more to theirs. Just imagine that you wanted to buy a $100,000 piece of real estate in China with 100,000 US dollars. Now, imagine coming back and and real estate prices stayed the same, for example, and now it costs $90,000 to buy that same real estate. Pretty good if you're holding a US dollar. Pretty sucky if you are the person trying to sell it in China because your dollar is being devalued. To put this into perspective of what this chart has done since May, it's almost like me getting in getting in the ring with like Mike Tyson. Imagine me in the ring with Mike Tyson. And as much as I love you guys and as much as you have faith in my sturdy left hook, I would get the snot kicked out of me. I would get punched so hard. I'd feel that thing like 4 years from now. I'd be like, oh, my jaw doesn't feel right. Oh, yeah, I remember Mike Tyson clocked me. It would have been the most imagine Mike Tyson sitting on top of you and ground and pounding you in the face like this for, I don't know, 4 months straight nonstop. I mean, you'd be dead, right? You'd be dead, right? Ta-da! This is what dead looks like, ladies and gentlemen. So as I was telling you, I'm going to share with you my predictions for the trade war, and then I'm going to show you how to capitalize on it, or um, legally speaking, how I'm going to attempt to capitalize on it. So when you have a chart that looks like this, the US is coming to the table with a lot more power. A lot more power. It has sort of control of the argument because if the US is like, look, you want to walk away? Walk away. Go do it right now. Walk away. You know what happens to all those little cheap Chinese goods, those little um, garbage toys that they sell out of China on Amazon? You know what happens to all those while this trade war goes on? They all they'll start losing their jobs in the factories. It's horrible for the Chinese economy. For the US economy, people want to say that the US China trade war actually hurts the US, and I sort of agree with that somewhat. That, yeah, well, if we're selling less goods and they're selling way less goods, it's like a slap on our wrist and two bullet holes in their legs sort of mentality. But let's just be honest here. This actually benefited the United States of America. And that's the point of which surprised me, which I will take any analyst argument any day of the week, and I will say, really? It hurt the US? Then why did this happen? So you mean it hurt the US so much that our dollar just overtook 10% of the Chinese economy within 3, 4 months? Like that? Like our buying power increased by 10% in months? You want to tell me that's a losing battle? You want to tell me this hurt the US at all? You want to know the funny part about it? The funny part about it is even though we're tariffing we're tariffing Chinese goods. You want to know the part about it, which this I'm always three, four steps ahead. This one took me by surprise. The cheaper price. So I'll give you an example. Because right now I'm going to blow your mind. I'm going to blow your mind, and I'm going to prove to you how this trade war helped the United States economy. I don't care if you think it's good or bad. I'm sure you have good reasons. I've heard good arguments for it on both sides. Doesn't matter. Let me prove it to you right now, right? The screen's a little bright. So let's say, example one, that you're buying Chinese goods for $1,000. We're keeping the numbers simple, right? Example one, we're buying Chinese goods for $1,000, 1,000 US dollars. Then we tariff them. Well, I'm making up a tariff here. Did I spell tariff correctly? Is it two R's? Is it like one R? Either way. We tariff these goods for 20%. Again, whatever it is, I don't care. I'm just showing you a simple math analogy. We tariff these goods for 20%. What does that mean? Americans must pay $1,200 for these goods. But, but because the value of the US dollar is so much better now. See, what happens in China is China doesn't go to the store with US, even though they love US dollars. You're not walking around in China with US dollars and buying things. People are walking around in China with the Chinese yuan. So they're going to the bank and they are exchanging this. They are exchanging this. So the point of the tariffs hurting China is they feel that less Americans will buy their goods. I strongly disagree. I strongly disagree that Americans are going to be buying less Chinese goods as a result of these tariffs. I do believe Chinese consumers will buy less American goods, though. So how does that help the United States? I'll show you. I'll show you. So in my example above, um, now all of a sudden, for these $1,000 worth of goods, and I should probably put it in quotations, for these $1,000 worth of these goods, now months later, fast forward 3 to 4 months, whatever, fast forward 3 to 4 months, now we're buying these Chinese goods for, and I'm rounding off, I get it, it's 9% and change, 10%, okay? Now we're buying these Chinese goods for $900. Now we buy them for $900. We tariff it 20%. Americans must pay 1080 for these goods. And again, this is very rough numbers. I know these numbers aren't exact, okay? I'm just sharing with you. So even though we are taxing, let's say there's a 20% tariff. Again, we're making this up. There's a 20% tariff on a random Chinese good. The difference that you as an American will pay is about 8% more for these Chinese goods. Do you understand the type of goods you buy from China? Do you understand the low quality of the goods in China? Now, the goods in China are admittedly low quality. There's a rule in China. It's called the American Three. If you go and I have a lot of friends in China, they tell me it's the American Three rule, meaning that if you buy a T-shirt made in China and you buy the same exact T-shirt that's made in the US, it costs 3 times more because US has very strict quality control and aren't allowed to use chemicals to create these things Well, Chinese have almost no regulation whatsoever. So for these little cheap Chinese goods, you will pay more on a Chinese tariff. But you want to know, you paying 8% more. So I'm assuming you're from America when I say you. If you're not, to substitute you for an American, you pay 8% more. China gets 10% less. Oops, my face is covering it. You pay 8% more. China gets 10% less. Let me tell you what happens when China is going to start tariffing goods. Do you know what happens when you increase the value of a luxury good? US products are considered a treat, a luxury. Just like in the US, for example, you could go to Zales and you could go to the mall and you could go online. You could buy a simple, thin silver charm bracelet for $20 made of real silver. And you could go to Tiffany's and buy that same charm bracelet with Tiffany's logo on it for $500. It's considered a luxury good. If you raise the prices on US goods in China, we're going to sell more. We'll make more money. I don't know if we sell our goods for 20% more, because you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? You have to look at the reverse of this. And the reverse of this is that China is going to have to pay more money for the American goods in the first place, while we're actually paying less money for these Chinese goods, because it all comes back to this. It all comes back to this. You see, when China wants to buy US goods, they don't say, oh, here's $1,000 that we printed in our treasury. They don't do that. You know how they do it? They go, there's foreign exchange, it's called Forex or FX exchange, and they transfer their Chinese dollars into American dollars to buy the goods. This is a slaughter when it comes to this war. So when the U.S. comes to the table tomorrow and China comes to the table, why are we talking about this? They're discussing it tomorrow, and we're going to show you how to capitalize on the Chinese names tomorrow. So many good Chinese names reporting. Baba's reporting this week. We'll get into that too. Stay tuned. So who's really benefiting and getting hurt? Don't think I think the US got more powerful, because if you want to and again, I'll be the first to admit it surprised me. It surprised me that the math actually worked out like this. And when I explained this to like some of the top analysts in which I respect in the industry, they all agree with me. They're like, I never thought about it like that. Because what's going to happen now is, even if there's zero tariff on US goods, China has to spend 10% more dollars anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, China doesn't have to put one tariff on a US good to force their citizens to pay 10% more for our goods. Nothing. Nothing. It's already priced into the dollar. So why are people not talking about this simple? I didn't read this math online. I didn't read this math online. But here is reality, ladies and gentlemen. This is reality. This is not an opinion. It's a mathematical fact. You could say that it's bad for our relations with China. It's good for the future of our relations. You can make that argument, and there's fair points on every side of the table. But if you want to look at how the trade war is going, it would be like the United States of America invading you know, your front lawn, like the little grass square you have in your front lawn with the little white picket fence around it. And it's like the US sending tanks and airplanes at that. Like, that's how this looks like. This is a massacre. An absolute massacre. How are these Chinese names doing since May? With the Chinese dollar just getting shellacked. Let's see. Alibaba. Here's a weekly of Alibaba. Here's a daily of Alibaba. Destroyed ever since these China trade war talks went ahead and loomed. How about Huya? Destroyed. What do I mean by destroyed? It went from $50.82 to $24.19. Ladies and gentlemen, that is destroyed. IQ, the Chinese Netflix. Oh my goodness. 46.23. You guys thought I was kidding when I said I was looking for a move to under 25 for support? What a beautiful call that was at 24.58. Destroyed. The Chinese Google, what does this have to do with the United States of America? Destroyed. $284 to $270. It dropped $77. A Baidu? China is catching it on the chin, ladies and gentlemen. And when Baidu, for example, or IQ, or best example actually, Baba, starts transferring these US dollars into Chinese dollars, see, the suppliers for Baba are happy because now their US dollars go even further. But the US is going to be more hesitant now because they're making less profit and they're going to buy less, so they're going to get significantly less dollars. Ladies and gentlemen, I really don't care what news outlet, what media source you use, what Bloomberg. I've seen the most respected analysts get it wrong. And when they want to know something, when something big, like they'll never call me. I'll never speak to them. And then all of a sudden, every 4, 5, 6 months, my phone will just blow up. And that's how I know. Like if my phone blows up, like when I start getting that first and second call, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be on the phone all day. Because I know they're gonna ask me this question. Now, you as a trader, how do you make money off this? Isn't that the most important thing? I figured I would tell you my theory behind it and what you could expect. Ladies and gentlemen, you could go to freestockcharts.com. You type in USD, which stands for US dollar, / that's the one where the question mark is on your keyboard, CNH, that's the Chinese yuan, and you look at this chart. Now, technically, the Chinese yuan is it's been phenomenally bullish, which is good for the US, bad for China. US dollar yuan is good for the US, bad for China. Now you're going to get some action in this tomorrow. You're going to get action. It looks dead. It looks like nothing is happening, and it's actually trading as if this isn't even going to move. But if this trade war continues, what do you think is going to happen to China? What do you think is going to happen to this Chinese dollar? It's going to go through all-time highs, which is the worst thing for China. Here is the weekly, every single week in existence in which this chart was created for the US dollar Chinese yuan. The all-time high is $6.98, 750. Last week we hit 695.873. Right here is the all-time high for the Chinese dollar. You want to know why the Chinese economy was booming in 2017 and 2018? Because of this. You see this down move here in the market. You see this huge fall down. That's what was doing good for China. And all of a sudden, spike up. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States already won this war. It's just a matter of how much bloodshed the Chinese are willing to go through prior to, for lack of a better word, conceding the battle. Chinese economy, just keep this in mind. Keep the all-time low was 6.21 on the first week of trading. Check this out. Here's a weekly. 6.21 was the all-time low. Right over here was at 6.23. The last week of March of this year, the Chinese dollar was at all-time lows. The Chinese dollar was at all-time lows. So what I'm thinking here is, you know, this is, where they started getting brave with the fight. And then the fight continued and it went from all-time lows to all-time highs, pretty much right by all-time lows, right by all-time highs in a matter of March to, well, it's the last week of March, so figure April to May to June to July, August, 4 months, went from all-time lows to all-time highs. We're not talking about a little crappy company, a little drug company that got FDA approval for something. We're talking about the US dollar versus Chinese yuan. This currency pairing alone does more volume and action in dollar volume, value wise, than the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange combined. So don't underestimate how big this is. This alone, no other currency, the US dollar, Chinese yuan, does more than the NASDAQ and NYSE dollar wise every single day on average. Do not underestimate what this chart is, ladies and gentlemen. Forex markets do about 6.5 trillion a day. US markets about 2 in euro US dollar, and this one is one of the more active ones now too. So with that being said, let's talk about capitalizing and making money. Baba's reporting this week. The expectations for this company are tremendous. To think that Baba, for example, isn't to think that Baba isn't going to be the front line of the Chinese company that suffers from this is delusional. You know that the CEO, Jack Ma, is buying property in New York, and he's been said to be buying property all over. Don't take it from me. That's the Baba CEO, and he's taking all his Chinese dollars, converting it into US dollars, and buying real estate. Why is he doing this? Why is this dude, who's one of the wealthiest men in China, buying all this real estate? Why is he doing it? And there's only one reason why he's doing it, and is because he's smart enough to know what's going on. I am probably going to take a Baba strangle into earnings. They're reporting Thursday. Um, the thing is, you know, I'm probably going to do it, but I'm leaving the country for 4 days and I'll be back on Monday. So I actually won't be here Friday. If you're inside the room, I'm actually going to try to give morning ideas before walking away. And the room, of course, will be open. Again, have to take care of something and I'll be back in the United States on Monday. But with that being said, you want to know how you watch the Chinese names tomorrow? What you do is you simply put up a chart of this and you watch what the Chinese yuan is doing. When the Chinese yuan was breaking under the 21 and 8 moving average, you had a big downfall and it was very bullish for the Chinese market. That is exactly what you want to see here. So I'll give you the level tomorrow. I'll give you the level for tomorrow today. 6.80602. 6.80602. Let me just double check that number. Yep. If we're below this, I'm bullish across the board in China. Oh, can't see it. There we go. So what you do is you keep a chart up of the Chinese yuan tomorrow and the day after, and the day you want to buy IQ, you want to buy Huya, you want to buy Baba, you want to buy Baidu, you want to buy any of these Chinese companies. Look at the Chinese yuan. Make sure you're below and holding below 6.80602. That's how you put in technical analysis into bullish conviction into Chinese names. and vice versa. And vice versa. So don't think this is just a one-way trade. If we're above this number, I'm bearish in Chinese names, but this is the line in the sand, 6.80602. And that's you watch that all week. And the reason for that here is we haven't been able on the daily to hold below the 21 for a while now. Now, if you notice, in the past 4 days, we broke the 21 moving average. What do you think the Chinese names did in the past 4 days from holding below this exponential 21 moving average? Let's see. Baba, last 4 days, nice, almost a $10 run. Baidu, last 4 days, nice, almost over an $11 run. IQ, last 4 days, nice, almost a $3 and change run, over 10%. Do you think this is a coincidence? Why did IQ randomly decide to bounce there? Well, we also called the bottom of IQ under 25, but let's not get into that. Why did it do it? Why? Because China, coincidentally, Chinese US dollar Chinese yuan, coincidentally, was holding below the 21 moving average. Now, if we're able to break underneath this trigger here, this is this trigger right here. I'll start looking for levels down by 6.77443. It's a big enough level here for me, this support line, this trigger level, where I would confidently say that the 8 is willing to break under the 21. Now, question. So you see back in the, I want to show you something. I'm going to teach you something. Watch this. So here is where the 8 really started falling under the 21 in US dollar China. You see this right here? This is where it first came out, right over here back in May 2017. May 2017, the exponential 8 started sliding underneath the 21 moving average on the Chinese yuan, right? Let's see. What did Baba do after May 2017? I mean, think of the Rocky music. Like right? How about Baidu? Here's Baidu, May 2017. I don't know if IQ was out then, it wasn't. Okay, how about Huya? No, that's a new issue too. You get the picture. Key line in the sand. You want to trade any Chinese name tomorrow, you watch this number. That's how I'm trading it. Okay, I hope that was enlightening. We have earnings tomorrow. We have Target reporting. That should be very interesting. We have Target reporting. And should be interesting. People are like, who's going to Target and who's doing this? You want to know what? I have a 3-year-old. And when I need a gift, I need to get him a gift right away. Now, I have a backup thing, garbage toys I bought from China off of Amazon. Little, I spend 20 bucks and I get like 40 of them and they wind up and, I have to end up, throwing them out eventually, but, it's like a reward type thing. But when I need to give him something, like, for example, my son hit his chin. See that right there? Got that from a knife in Brooklyn. I have a scar myself. He thankfully did not have to grow up in that environment, but he fell on his chin and he had stitches recently, as I told you guys. And guess where I went to get him a gift? Target. Target is the only toy store out there. There are no toy stores on the planet. Yes, I'm exaggerating, but there really are no toy stores on the planet outside of Target and of course Amazon. They don't exist. There's no KB stores. There's no Toys R Us. So you want to know what? All the business from Toys R Us, people who want to pick out their toy, and and Walmart. But you see, the problem with Walmart is Target is huge, Walmart is obnoxious. So if you figure Target is 20,000 square feet, might be bigger. I'm making it up. I'm sure they're different size Targets. Walmart is like 200,000 square feet. Like I said, you can't walk to every corner of Walmart, and it'll take you about 30 minutes if you want to just walk, not slow, not fast, just at a normal pace. Just walk Walmart and hit all four corners of Walmart. It'll take you like half an hour. So yes, I do believe Walmart is helped out by it. I think Target's going to gap up tomorrow. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not betting on this one, by the way. I did make a bet. I did make a bet though, and I'll share that with you momentarily. So Target, nobody's talking about it. They're gonna be a direct beneficiary, and Walmart, Target and Walmart, from people who go to Toys R Us. Because if you went to Toys R Us before to buy a gift for yourself, for your kids, whatever, a toy, a bike, whatever, you're going to Target now and you're going to Walmart now. Now, are their toy sales going to boost them up? Target, I probably up my spending 5, 6, 700% at my local Target based on this alone. I don't personally buy my groceries there. I used to buy they have these cool little ice pops, the all natural ice pop, non-GMO, no corn syrup, real sugar. They what are they called? Whatever. I don't remember the name, but they sell like organic stuff there now, and I was like, really? So I was pretty happy with that, but I think they're gonna gap up tomorrow. And again, the market is getting slammed. I will be looking for intraday trades there. So what trade did I take? I took Momo for $3.80 on Momo. Um, I went ahead and again, just it's always nice to show a timestamp. So I did it. I do these right before the end of the day. That says 3:48 p.m. If you can't read it, August 21st today. And I bought $41 calls and $40 puts in Momo, and I paid $3.80 and per strangle. And you know what? With all the Chinese drama, I think this is going to be a good one. Again, I don't even know if I'm gonna, if it's gonna work or not, but I'm pretty damn confident I'm going to come out ahead, and if I don't, I'm not going to take a real heavy hit whatsoever. So I think it was a really good risk reward on Momo. I went ahead and I did open up the strangle as disclosure, of course. I think we're going to get a nice move in that. So Target's reporting. You know what else is reporting? Lowe's. And the truth is, I don't know how I feel about this company. Who the hell is doing home improvement these days? And I know some of you are going to raise your hands and whatnot, but I found it a little funny. They took that failing CEO dude. Did he jump ship from like J.C. Penney or Sears or something? And he took over Lowe's. I am not a fan of him. I was more of a fan of the CMG CEO because the CMG CEO, he ran Taco Bell. He knows how to sell a burrito and he knows how to do it better than anyone in America. What does a J.C. Penney CEO have to do with home improvement? Oh, I need to buy a hammer. Yeah, let's go to J.C. Penney, bro. We'll see what they report, but it should be good trading. If you haven't noticed, the market is getting slammed at the moment. Absolutely slammed. Qs are down $1 currently after hours, and spiders are down a dollar and change, about $1.66 currently. What else came out tonight? Starbucks got a downgrade at Piper Jaffray. What's funny? I don't go to Starbucks anymore. I noticed that. That's a big deal. I used to go like Starbucks. Like I might as well have like an expense account with them. But yeah, it's see if this Starbucks name could potentially head lowers. It got downgraded at Piper after hours. Again, they just also want to say there was a strong earthquake in Venezuela. It was felt as far away as Colombia's capital. The Newsbeat live room and everyone here, we do send our thoughts and prayers to the earthquake in Venezuela. We will be looking for potential charities to help out the people there. they're obviously going to suffer catastrophic damage. People, for me, you can't help everyone in the world, but I want to help kids. I want to help kids. I'm thinking like um, either if there's a charity out there that like I don't know has like little handheld like gaming devices, like maybe we send them a bunch of if they have access to electricity, maybe we send water and little video games for the kids to take their mind away from all the crap happening around them. I think that would be a very good charitable cause, and on behalf and I know I could speak on behalf of everyone in the room, our thoughts and prayers to everybody. We do have a few people from Venezuela here, and our thoughts and prayers to everybody um, going through that in Venezuela right now. So, with that being said, um, how about our technical algo levels? Here you go. You want to watch anything? Anything is on your radar? Here we are. Here we are. You can go ahead and you can get all your Newsbeat levels here. Go ahead and throw a screenshot out now. You have your Qs, spiders, IWM, very important support levels for tomorrow. Screenshot this. Keep it by your side. It's always a handy friend to have. Game plan, I'm just giving you a short name. Smucker's Jelly. Terrible name for a stock company. I'm going to name myself Smuckers. It's like, who thought of that? Anyway, 107.31, today's low. Stock fell on earnings. I'm looking for a break of today's low tomorrow on SJM. Forex trades have been beautiful. Our last one was our Euro US dollar long. How beautiful was that? How about our US dollar yen? How about our US dollar yen? Isn't that really pretty? We shorted this one up here, and it's working beautifully right now. But here are all our new Forex trades on the day, right over here. Obviously, don't copy the top trade. That's where we shorted the US dollar yen. It's obviously a trade that's live and working, but there are only two new orders here. They're both buy orders. Here's the size in US standard lots. Here's the size in US standard lots. Here's the symbol. Here's where I'm trying to bid for them up to 5 decimal places out. Here's where my stop loss is in case I get filled and I'm wrong. And here's my take profit level in case I get filled and I'm right. So that is what I'm watching there on the Forex side. And of course, we do, ladies and gentlemen, we do indeed go to our full stock analysis. That's your stocks, my levels and thoughts. I break down technically everything for you, and we do it in real time. That is for Newsbeat Live members only. We do it here in the Newsbeat Live room, which is the only way I can interact with you guys. We're the largest, fastest growing trading room in the United States of America. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys next time on the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.